Welcome back to Blackboard English Grammar. My name is Heather Ziegler. Before we talk about imperatives and declarative sentences today, let's do a quick review. Parts of speech: nouns, pronouns, adjectives, determiners, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. Remember, determiners is not considered one of the 8 main parts of speech, but it is an important part of speech. And eventually we'll talk about like verbals and bunch of other types of part of speech. But when you are in grade school and on up, most of your professors, especially in like 101 English grammar in college, they want you to be able to rattle off the 8 parts of speech like it's second nature, which is nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. You have to be able to do this without even thinking. So we're going to go over the slides so many times, and I have like 70 lessons, so you're going to see this slide pop up everywhere. Noun phrase NP. Now, inside a noun phrase, you might have a determiner phrase. Also, you might have an adjective phrase, but you'll have a noun. If this noun phrase is replaced, you can replace it with a pronoun. We talked about personal pronouns now in the subjective case and in the objective case. So when this noun phrase is the subject, you have to replace it with a subjective case personal pronoun. If this noun phrase is the direct object or indirect object, you can replace it with an objective case personal pronoun. Verb phrase VP. Now, a verb phrase, you must have a verb. And in every sentence in English, you must have a verb. Verbs are not optional. Now, this verb is going to dictate what comes behind it. So we know transitive verbs are going to have a direct object. We also know intransitive verbs are going to have nothing behind it. We also know some transitive verbs are going to have a direct object and an indirect object. We also know if you have an intensive verb, you might have a predicate noun or a predicate adjective. So we are representing all the possibilities that can happen because of a verb. Since they're possibilities, we're going to put them in parentheses. Adjective phrase AP. Now we know an adjective phrase must have an adjective, and we represent the possibility of having more than one adjective by this little star. And we also know adverb can modify an adjective. If it's modifying an adjective, it's going to come in front of the adjective it's modifying. So far, we only talked about adverbs of frequency. Declarative sentences, statement sentences. That's what we've been dealing with this whole time. But today, we're going to talk about imperative sentences. They're demand, instruction, request, invitation. So they're telling you to do something. Imperative sentences are written in simple present tense. You wash the dishes. You can actually write the word you. It's perfectly grammatically correct to do that. But in English, we actually have an option. We can omit the you. You do not actually have to write it. Wash the dishes, sweep the floor, eat pizza. This is the only time in English you do not have to have a written subject. The only time. If you do not have a written subject with a declarative sentence, is not grammatically correct. So keep that in mind. Imperative sentences end in a period or exclamation mark. So let's evaluate a few sentences together. Take the trash. Now, take is a verb, a dynamic verb, extensive verb, and a transitive verb. The trash is the direct object. The is a determiner and a definite article. Trash is noun, a collective noun, a concrete noun, and a common noun. Now, we're going to end the sentence with a period. We can also put an exclamation mark. Exclamation shows strong emotion. So, exclamation, strong emotion as negative or positive. Clean the room. Clean the room is the verb phrase and the predicate of the sentence. Remember, the subject is understood. So, clean is a verb, dynamic verb, extensive verb, and a transitive verb. The room is the direct object. The is a determiner and a definite article. Room is a noun, concrete noun, countable noun, singular noun, and a common noun. And I decided to show up a more I decided to show a polite tone by adding a period. If I wanted to show a strong emotion, I would add an exclamation mark. Clean the messy room. So I just added one word, messy. Messy is an adjective, a descriptive adjective, and an attributive adjective. So, and I also made this a very polite tone and add a period. But if it's like my children, clean the messy room, I'm going to have an exclamation mark to show my strong emotion of anger. It's nice to have a very quick lesson here and there. I'll try to do a few more of those, but unfortunately, sometimes you just have to make the lessons a little bit longer. But it's time to take some notes and do some practice. Pause the video and write down the notes. Write 5 sentences, 1 declarative, 4 imperative. Draw boxes and use a different color for each type of phrase, and identify the classifications of the words. Do homework. Do is a verb, transitive, extensive, dynamic. Homework, noun, concrete, collective, and common. Another example is hang the laundry. So now it's your turn to write 1 declarative sentence and 4 imperative sentences. We are cruising through these lessons. We just finished lesson 20. In lesson 21, we're going to take a quick review on everything we have learned. And finally, in lesson 23, we're going to be introduced and start writing in present progressive tense. And we're going to really start exploring all those types of determiners so we can really expand the determiner phrase. I'll see you soon. Bye!